Welcome into Chicago Bears Now. I am your host, Harrison Graham, as we are set to answer your questions on today's mailbag video. So use hashtag Bears or Super Chat to get your questions on the show. We'll answer as many as we can. From Peyton Kotz, do we beat Green Bay this year? If so, get the FGBs going. Just get the FGBs going right now. FGB. FGB. Spam the chat, FGB. If Justin Fields is able to play, they've got a shot. I hope they beat the Packers. In a lost season, beat the Packers, lose the rest of them, get a high pick. Hey, I'm down for that. Alan Mack, draft Will Anderson Jr. with the 3rd pick. Well, stay tuned. If you're watching live, we got my latest Bears mock draft coming out soon. We'll see what I did with the number 3 pick. But, yeah, I love Will Anderson. I saw Brad Spielberger of PFF, who I actually really like, but he said he's not a great fit for Fluce's defense. I'm like, come on. If you can't make Will Anderson work, you got a coaching problem. Like, he's a stud pass rusher. So I would absolutely take him if he's available. I think he's that good. Trey Talk Sports, see this what all of us Bears fans were afraid of when Fields was taking big hits, and now he's hurt. Honestly, we should tank. We are not going anywhere. 2, let Fields rest for next year. Simple. Yeah, I mean, this team's not winning this year. And, yeah, there's always a risk of injury, but there's a risk of injury when he gets hit in the pocket. He's honestly taken more big hits in the pocket than he has when running. Of course, that one, he did take a big hit when running, on a designed run, so that's unfortunate. But, honestly, it was a stupid play call in that situation. If you don't call a QB power there, he doesn't have an injury. It's less than 2 minutes to go. You got to throw the football. That's on Getsy. Tyler Coffey, if the Bears get the 3rd pick, should they take Will Anderson or trade down? That's a good question. I've been posed this question in the office a lot. Would you trade down, get more capital, or would you draft Will Anderson, Jalen Carter? I mean, I don't think there's a wrong answer. Say Will Anderson and Jalen Carter on the board. You could easily take one. I'd be happy with either. You could trade down for more capital. I'd be happy with that as well. Yeah, I think we'll see. It would depend on what the offers are. But if you could get multiple future high picks, that would be tempting. That would be very, very tempting. Should the Bears trade down in the 1st round? I want to ask you guys. Type Y for yes. Type in for no. Should the Bears trade down in the 1st round of the draft? Y for yes or in for no. Dustin Hamby, I'm with you. Sit Fields until he's 100% or the rest of the season. We're not going to win regardless. We're at 3 and likely have a chance to get Will Anderson. Bear down. Look, if Fields does get close to 100% healthy, you should play him. Like, you don't want to just waste the reps. But if he's like 80% and you could risk further injury, I would not play him. I would not risk further injury if that is on the table potentially. You still want to evaluate him even further. Now, I'm confident he's the guy, but if he's close to 100%, he should play. Now, is that going to be the case? I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. But, yeah, I mean, if you can get the 2nd or 3rd or even 4th pick, you're going to be in a pretty good spot. Alan Melendez, top draft candidates to replace Monty if the Bears let him walk. Thought on drafting Blake Corum. He has been going up draft boards. I like Blake Corum. 3rd, 4th round. He's a little undersized, but he's really good in space. He can catch the football. I think a Khalil Herbert, Blake Corum backfield could work really well. I do think if Demo walks, you need to draft or sign a running back because Treston Ebner hasn't shown enough to be more than a 3rd number 3 back, in my opinion.Maybe he will the final few weeks of the season, but you're going to need another back if Demo walks. So, yeah, Blake Corum, your guy. I know you guys love Chase Brown out of Illinois. He's a guy I would like in the middle rounds. Maybe a guy like Zach Evans out of Ole Miss, Kendre Miller, couple other names to monitor in the middle rounds. I love Bijan Robinson, but you're not taking a running back in the 1st round, and that's when he's going to get drafted. Now, Bears Now is presented by ButcherBox, as they are back this week sponsoring some shows. And shout out to ButcherBox because, hey, this holiday season, there's a lot going on, right? You got to do a lot of shopping for presents, and then you got family over, and you're like, God, what am I going to do for food? Well, get your food ordered now as they have high-quality beef, chicken, pork, and other high-quality seafood as well. Plus, what's cool about ButcherBox is right now their deal, if you go to butcherbox.com/NFL Daily and use code NFL Daily, they will send you 2 free 10-ounce ribeyes for free with what you order. So don't order any steaks initially. Order some other meat. Then they're going to throw you 2 free ribeyes, and you're going to be good to go. You're going to be loaded up with some high-quality beef, pork, and seafood, whatever your flavor is. And for the holiday season, if you have family over and you need to put a big feast together, ButcherBox is the place for you. If you live in the continental United States, they will ship for free straight to your doorstep. No surprise fees. ButcherBox is a great place to go. I've been cooking their meats for the last couple of months during football season, a little college football Saturday. I'll throw some burgers on the grill from ButcherBox. They're fantastic. And they're going to throw $10 off as well. So 2 free ribeyes and $10 off. That's awesome. ButcherBox.com/NFL Daily. Get going with ButcherBox today. That link will be in the comments and in the description of this video. Let's go to Bob Johnson. Do you think Luke Getsy is overrated as a play caller just because Justin Fields is balling? We can't call him overrated because during that mini bye after the Commanders game, he and this coaching staff, and probably Fields as well, sat down and looked at some other concepts from other teams like Buffalo, Philadelphia, and Baltimore, and implemented them into their own offense, and that's when the offense took off. So Getsy deserves a lot of credit. Now, I will say this. This is something I have just minor concerns about. It's still very early. He's only called 11 games in his career as a play caller. He's still learning too. The passing offense, I think he has room to grow in terms of when to call certain plays, play design. I mean, that's a big criticism of Greg Roman, for example, the Ravens offensive coordinator. He is a great run design and running play caller, but when they have to throw the football, his concepts aren't very good. We've seen good concepts from Getsy, like that rollout left, throw right bomb to Cole Kmet a couple weeks ago. But when the Bears get into a must-throw situation and, play actions taken out of the mix, straight drop back, are receivers getting open? The answer is no. Now, that could be due to a lack of talent, but really good play callers find a way to scheme guys open. And I think in must-throw situations, that's been a little hit and miss so far. So I think Getsy's certainly got some room to grow. I wouldn't call him overrated, but I do think the passing concepts can improve. Liam Bachman, thoughts on drafting offensive tackle Peter Skoronski from Northwestern? Definitely open to it. If you have a top 5 pick, I wouldn't draft him there, though. I don't think he's that good of a prospect. I think he's the classic example of, hey, you have the 3rd or 4th pick, trade down to like 8, 10, 11. If he's there, draft him there. Maybe you get an extra first-round pick, take a receiver, then boom, you're good to go, and you can go a lot of defense the rest of the draft. So that could be an example of that. But, yeah, he's a guy I would take probably like as high as 7 or 8, and he'll probably go in the top 15, so somewhere in that range. Subscribe to Bears Now as we have you covered with the latest Bears news, rumors, and more. When updates come in, we're going to hit you with the video, so hit that sub button here on Chicago Bears Now, and don't miss any coverage here on the channel. From Tim Griffin, do we have enough firepower next year to help on both D and the offensive line? Not currently. I mean, you gotta improve there. The D-line stinks. I mean, Justin Jones is the only guy who's even been probably average to above average. Dominic Robinson had a good start to the season. He's hit a wall for sure. Trevis Gibson has gone backwards. Angelo Blackson's just a guy. Armin Watts, I think, as a rotation guy is decent, but he's not a starter. It's possible none of your starting defensive line should be starting. Maybe Justin Jones if he's your second defensive tackle and you get a stud next to him, but got a lot of work there. Offensive line, the only guys I think will have a really good chance of being starters next year are Braxton Jones, Tevin Jenkins. I think there's a good chance Cody Whitehair gets cut. I don't think he's played that good this year. Sam Mustipher, we've talked about it. He's a backup. He's a fine backup, but he's a backup. Right tackle, Riley Reif's on a 1-year deal. Borum got benched for Reif after the concussion, so yeah, I mean, you got multiple spots on both defensive and offensive line that you got to fill. Marty K, Jalen Carter or Will Anderson Jr., I'm having a hard time choosing who I like more. It is tough because Jalen Carter's unbelievable. Now, I would lean Anderson for one reason, because he is a proven just QB sack wrecker, right? Like, the guy just gets so many sacks. Now, I know there's more to it, stopping the run, and a guy like Jalen Carter, he can open up sack opportunities for other players. So you could argue he's a better overall player, but as a pure pass rusher, go get the quarterback, that's Will Anderson, and you got no one who can do that. No one even close who can do that. So I would lean Anderson, but if they took Carter, I'd be perfectly happy. I think he would be great on this defense. Now, who is your favorite Bears player ever? Let us know down in the comment section below your favorite Chicago Bears player of all time. Maybe it's a current player. Maybe it's not. Let me know what you guys are thinking on this one. Mike Nintendo Master, what is a need more? Wide receiver, offensive line, defense. Yes, you need more help at receiver. You need more help at offensive line. You need a ton of help on defensive line. You might need a corner. You probably need a linebacker or two. I mean, you got needs all over the place, which even with the cap space and draft picks the Bears have, there's still probably come week 1 next year, there's going to be a couple of positions where you're like, I don't know about that. But that's also most teams in the NFL. Even the best teams, you think of, the Chiefs, for example, right? Their running back situation's been a little dicey this year. Their defensive end position's been up and down. They're not a perfect roster from front to bottom. You're not going to be super strong at every position, but you got to fill some of these gaps. And the Bears got the money and the draft capital to do so. I think you got to get better in the trenches on both sides and at receiver. I think that is where I would start. O-line, D-line, receiver, go from there outward. Because linebacker, for example, you can piece together an average linebacker unit. Jack Sanborn can start, go sign a decent player in free agency. That can work. Legacy 120, would you want Saquon if the O-line didn't change in the offseason? Well, the O-line will change in the offseason. I'm pretty confident in that. But in general, I'll just answer it like this. In general, I would not overpay for Saquon. 3 years, $30 million? 10 years, $10 million per year? $20 million guaranteed? I'd consider it, man. You're going to have $115+ million. You give him $10 million a year, you're still over $100 million in cap space. If it's Demo for $6 million or Saquon for $10 million, I'll probably pay the extra $4 million because he's that much more dynamic. I'll take the risk because, and I would structure it where in the third year you could get out of the deal. I would take that risk. Him and Khalil Herbert is your 1-2 punch. Whoo, that would be a lot of fun. Thank you for all your questions. Be sure to follow me on social media at HGramNFL on Twitter and at HGramNFL on Instagram. We will be sure to answer as many questions as we possibly can. So at HGramNFL on Twitter and Instagram to help or to reach out and ask questions if we didn't answer them here on the show.